yeah, that's the whole point of it, is to not pay rent and not put myself in a situation where I'm choosing to either work and pay rent in order to survive, or live like this, which is pretty inconvenient, but give myself the opportunity to be mobile and to pursue a higher education to try and rise myself out of poverty. We are really clean people. We are constantly, like, every day I walk outside my door, I take a few minutes to pick up trash all around, like up and down our line and in the parking lot, wherever I see it. I go put it in the trash. I go back in my own home where I have running water and I wash my hands, and then I go to class. We are absolutely not unsanitary people. We all have self-contained restrooms, and we are completely self-sufficient in terms of anything sanitary. And also we all have a constant communication and open dialogue about the image that we want to present on campus.
Regardless of the fact, if it is a policy issue, policy can be changed. And the central fact should fall on to what is the best interest of our students and protection of their well-being. And this is where the other two rationale become incredibly problematic, and that is that the language was that this was creating unsafe and unsanitary conditions for the community as a whole. Thus, our students were being framed as dangerous and dirty, unsanitary. And these are classic tropes that are used to criminalize certain populations. I don't need to dig into the history of this. I'm sure all of you are well aware of the way that these are often utilized. And again, absolutely no evidence was provided.
Brad, how you doing? Because Brad, I saw you take a picture of me. We haven't met yet.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
So who are you?
I'm Brad Butterfield.
Okay, and why you take a picture of me? I'm Dr. Mitchell.
Yeah, thank you. I'm taking a picture because we would like to document how this is going down. It's important for us to get photos of exactly how it was happening.
But I just had a conversation with you. You don't know me from a can of paint, right?
So can I record you?
It's interesting. I just saw you in the street walking with a
Can I
picture of you.
record you, or is that?
We haven't met each other.
I just don't know how you'd record me
And you don't even know my purpose or position.
the
Why I'm
people
here.
who've expressed
So is that
being
I'd like to
unwilling.
point out that
So no,
it's actually
yeah.
This is the letter from anybody.
But I'm happy.
I just want to know who's recording me and what's going on. That's all. So what is your name, sir?
Alex.
What is your name, Alex? How you doing?
Yes,
I didn't meet you. I'm
doing
Dr.
well.
Mitchell. And you are whom?
With the lumberjack.
Okay, fantastic. So now we have a conversation. We know who we are. Because I don't have people just pointing cameras in my face.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
All right. So
Well, hold on. Let's let.
we're going to move back. So I am Dr. Mitchell. Hello, everybody. Again, AVP, Dean of Students. Here to support you all. So the first thing is I'm going to ask everybody to write your name on here and your student ID so we can meet with you on an individual basis and see what needs you have and how we can accommodate those needs. Does everybody understand what I'm saying and understand what I'm saying so far?
We are talking about possibly isolated incidents being used to categorize and characterize our students that are here on campus, simply trying to get educated and just do not have the financial means to obtain housing without taking on onerous debt. And so they're making a choice. It's not like this is some glamorous style of living and they're leeching off the system. They are doing it in a very responsible way. They formed collective groups that look out for one another. They clean the parking lots. They're doing everything they can to make this work. And it is now the institution, without any dialogue with this group, is mandating that they leave because they are dangerous and unsanitary, without providing any evidence as of such. And this should be very alarming to us.
Sanitary issues. We had
What?
food being put out.
Buckets, because none of us know anything about that. Like, you should talk to the news about that, because we have no evidence of that.
sanitary conditions?
And we were accused of that, and that's so offensive.
What? Sorry. Okay, so we got reports between. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Housing, parking. A lot of people observing this. We've gotten approached by faculty about those conditions. UPD's observed cooking. We've observed food being left out. We have grounds who've observed feces in bushes near where other campers have been. But I think it's important to note that that's what brought the conversation up. But ultimately, the driver is that there's a campus policy that prohibits this. and we haven't been enforcing that, and that's problematic.
It looks like there is a section of the policy regarding use of motor vehicles for living or overnight sleeping. You know, again, what we're asking of X, if this can be agendized, is something that is revisited. But the point being, we're requesting that that policy be revisited in light of current housing scarcity and the cost of education for our students, which is only going to be increasing.
I think that they could use our support here. And this is, if we don't stand up for our students to protect them in this way, I'm not sure that we're doing, right by them. So, yeah, with my own students in my classroom, I have had so many stories where they're rolling through houseless situations and they're able to couch surf for a while, and then they'll sleep in their car for a while. I mean, this is unfortunately a reality of this generation where education has gotten so expensive and housing has become so limited. And so it's not just, we're not talking about just the way we're approaching a specific group of students right now. We're talking about a posture of the university towards a growing number of precarious students who are going to have one less option of safe space. Why are we pushing them out into a community that's already stretched thin and where they're going to encounter more problems? As Josh was saying, this is not just a Humboldt issue. This is a California issue, and there are so many campuses that are finding ways to make this work.
They do have openings. I've called them, and that's one of those things through the basic needs funding that the university may be able to help you with.
But may isn't enough when the ground is crumbling below you. Do you understand what that means? We have nowhere to go, and saying, well, maybe we can give you resources, that isn't good enough.
There are numerous campuses that have found very good ways to make this work and to keep students safe. And I just don't understand why our response is to literally turn on a dime and suddenly evict these students at this time of the year. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Some of our students, and so we are basically approaching the X, asking you to agendize this item. A conversation about the parking policy, a conversation about the actions that were, let's be clear, were threatened in the campus-wide email message. We think it would make sense to bring people together who are informed on the topic and create a forum for everybody to discuss what is needed. I don't need to remind you, but I will say it anyway, these are our students, right? They are our students, they're not to be feared. And there are models out there that we could potentially explore.
There's not been any cap on the amount of support the university is willing to provide, but the message is we don't know your individual case, and you need to work with folks to figure that out.
So what if an individual case is that this individual person can't afford to pay any kind of rent and needs to have long-term stay at said RV park? Is the university then next semester and the following semester going to pay for that student to pay at an RV park long-term?
My understanding is when you have that conversation, that's going to be flowed up.
And we'll look at multiple options. It may be financial aid, it may be different situations and scenarios. So we're going to try to figure out what we best can do to accommodate the students.
You mean loans or grants?
No,
Yeah.
It could be a multitude of options.
I'm not taking a loan out because you made me homeless. No way.
There's a model program at Long Beach Community College that provides a safe place for students to park, and they have access to facilities on campus overnight. And so I'm coming here as a faculty member concerned about this issue, but also as a faculty member in the Department of Sociology. And we've all discussed it and are concerned.
Definitely going to keep pressuring administration and just try and figure out the root of kind of where this came from, because it just kind of came out of nowhere. And even talking to the dean of students, he wasn't aware of any talks of this before the decision was made, so it just kind of came out of nowhere for him as well.
Where would you be forced to go in the community if they didn't provide you a space on campus?
So the suggestions were temporary emergency housing, which is temporary, right? We're talking weeks here on campus. That doesn't solve anything. They've also suggested, I'm not sure of the name completely, but there is a houselessness charity that runs a safe kind of parking lot that's by the marsh on the outskirts of town that I actually don't personally deem that to be a safe space. So that would be really the only feasible option. The problem with that is that has limited spaces. So the county has these super limited funds or projects already, and then there would be street parking. It would be parking at the marsh or parking outside on the street somewhere, parking in parking lots in I think it's Guntoly Lane out by Dollar Tree. That would be the other option aside from moving out of area.
Would you feel safe anywhere?
No. I mean, I've had to do things like that before. And you get tow notices, you get people knocking on your vehicle. I've been broken into one attempt whilst I was in a parking lot in a Target parking lot, and then another time I was actually broken into and had my place gutted. So the risks are real.
And does being on campus, I mean, at least before this email, do you feel safe?
Absolutely, because there's our community here. And that community means not just those of us that are houseless or living in our vehicles. That means our friends and our peers and faculty that are in and out all day. We park close together because we look after each other.
Coming at you with a lot of questions, well, you kind of set yourself up for that. You didn't give anybody the opportunity or the floor to advocate for themselves in any way. You only listened to two people and didn't open up an opportunity, which is your responsibility as an administration, to give people the opportunity to actually communicate with you. And now you're trying to do it on this, all of a sudden, like, thank you for reaching out and wanting to offer services. Nobody's saying, we're rejecting that or we're not grateful for it or whatever, but we are saying, it's a little late, and it's kind of all of a sudden, and it is without any dialogue, without giving anybody the opportunity to really say anything or have a defense on whatever brought this up, or really any understanding. There was an extreme lack of communication, a really gross lack of communication. And now the communication that is happening is, we have no say, we're getting kicked out, you're going to offer us very ambiguous resources on an individual basis, there is no formal meeting. We had to gain this information that this letter was even coming out today through Chris at the very last second of our meeting, which made it very clear that we were not going to be told that this was happening. This is not an official meeting that you guys brought on. This is something that we almost had to push for and advocate and bring everybody together for, which seems extremely inappropriate from an administration. So excuse us if everybody's really upset.
I'd like to just say that as a faculty member, I'm so dismayed at this unilateral decision, and I'm just heartbroken for all of you at the lack of support that's being shown for the circumstances, extenuating circumstances of your life. And I don't know if you want to, I can give this to you, but I've already written a letter to the Dean of Students on your behalf. And just give you so much. A copy. It's very short, and I'll read it if you like.
I think that'd be great, yeah.
So, RE, vehicle housed student evictions. Dear Dean of Students, I'm dismayed and even heartbroken to see the university taking steps to remove students from what is likely their current best option for temporary housing in campus parking areas. Your office has reached out to me as a faculty member on numerous occasions through CARE's request to make compassionate accommodations for students to the maximum extent possible. I consider any student living in a vehicle in an on-campus parking area to be students who are overcoming extenuating circumstances, end quote. This is right from their website and their mission statement, which are related to basic needs and health and well-being services. Per your own directives, I believe that CARE should auto-enroll each of these houseless students automatically into your program, and it seems prudent that for CARE to affirm that your office considers this current situation as facilitating a temporary transitional housing program to be the safest and most convenient for students right now. So really, I believe that the temporary solution that is already being implemented in allowing students to park overnight on campus lots is the right way to go. And the university's current solution to evict them is actually the problem, especially at crunch time in the semester. I think highly of your office. Please stand up for these students in the way that CARE does for other students overcoming extenuating circumstances.
Thank you.
this is obviously a political decision being made, and it's unilateral, and it's not collaborative, and it's not well vetted with other campus services.
Go, hey, hey! Go,